Thank you very much for the introduction. I hope you hear me now. Yes, my name is Sverker Lindblad. I'm the Swedish monitoring committee member from Sweden, together with Daniel André from Sweden. I especially would like to thank you, ESPON, of course, but especially the contact point of France and Sweden, with Angel in France and Wolfgang Pichler in Sweden. As we heard, Sweden has a long tradition as a migration country, both for immigration and emigration. And over time, it have been different drivers behind this migration in Sweden. Already a long time ago, the driver was mainly the need for competence in Sweden. We have a big groups of Walloon people from Belgium coming to Sweden, learning us to handle the iron in the 17th century. Later on, we was a big emigration country when people were leaving for America, mainly in the late 1800 and early 1900. After the Second World War, it was a big inflow of people, and it was both push and pull factors behind, I would say. A big need for people working in building up the manufacturing industry in Sweden, increasing a lot during that time, combined with the economical reasons in the country where people were coming from, especially from Finland. We have big groups coming from Italy, from former Yugoslavia, and we needed that labor to build up our industry in Sweden. Later on, it was also other drivers behind immigration, the political reasons, I would say, mainly. People coming from Greece, from former Czechoslovakia, from Chile, from minority groups in Turkey, and so on. And this was also combined with still a big need of people working in Swedish industry. Looking at the last 20 years, and especially the last 5 years, I would say, then it's new groups that have come to Sweden, and it has been a big inflow of people from different countries, like as we heard, from Iraq, from Iran, Afghanistan, Somalia, Syria, of course. And it's a mix of different skills these people have. Some of them are having skills and education. Some of them are very low skilled, and of course this gives big challenges for the Swedish society and for especially the municipalities. But it also gives a golden opportunity for municipalities in relation to the changing demography of Sweden, where we see that it's actually shortage of labor in many different areas, like in public sector, for instance. But the labor market has changed a lot during the last 50 years. Now it's much bigger need of a good education and especially having the language. So this gives, of course, big challenges for the municipalities and the Swedish society. But as I said, it gives a golden opportunity for the municipalities to, if we can handle the immigration in a good way, we can have both new taxpayers and more competence in, for instance, the public sector. But it's many steps to go to use this potential. I can point out that first we need housing and schools. That will be one of the topics for today's meeting. Of course, we need language skills for the people that should take part in the Swedish labor market. Those who have different types of skills and education, we need to validation of that, and sometimes also to complete it with education to living up to the Swedish standards that we need on our labor market. And finally, of course, it needs a matching on the labor market to what we need at the Swedish labor market. All these tasks, and many of these tasks are lying on the municipalities, so of course with the help of the state and maybe the regional level too. But it takes a lot of efforts to do it in a good way. And what we have seen from statistics and analysis is that the differences between municipalities are very big when it comes to use this potential at the Swedish labor market. Depends on a lot of factors, of course. Sometimes that it have been too many coming too fast in certain places in Sweden. But sometimes we also see that it's very different how municipalities have worked with these issues. And I hope that the discussion here today will show up some of the very good examples on how we have done it in Sweden. So I'm looking very much forward to hear both the researchers on this project and the good examples from the Swedish municipalities. So with that said, I give the floor back to Professor Legois and for the next point on the agenda. So thank you.